You want to go on to our YouTube and see if there's a live stream on there?
Right now?
Yep. Because
Can do.
it's hard to tell. Hard to tell if it's fully live yet or not. Also give Joey a message and see what he's doing right now. See if he would be interested in appearing. So just in case it is on, I'll give a brief explanation while Juan's doing that. We're doing some live streaming, people. We're trying out some new shit.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah?
Yep.
Popping up. Very cool, very cool. And the sound sounds good as well. Nice. Right, well, I left my camera, my phone in the other room. Goddamn, that's distracting.
Yep, cool.
Your door's closed and whatnot.
Yep.
Good. Guten Tag. Guten Tag. So that's still going there. All right. Well, I think everything else is set up, man. So if that's going good, we'll just get into it. What do you reckon?
Let's do it.
What do you reckon, man? Okay. Now this is the kind of thing where it's like I still need so much to do because I can play the music on here, but it's not going to come through on the live stream, I doubt. And
gotcha.
I would have to, Many think, goddamn man, I've just like by deciding to do this, I've dedicated so many hours to
just to putting it together
to be able to make this stuff good. But we'll
I'll message Joey as well.
Nevertheless, yeah. You want to do that now before I begin the actual one. Because what our plan is, people, is we'll be doing live streaming for the... No, I'll save that. I'll save that because I want to do a bit of a housekeeping in the actual episode as well. And so when I click the audio button, go brrr, that's when I'll describe those things. But I can tell people and bitch and moan about my hands. My hands, people. Yeah. It was my first workout session, and I was calculating. I had 12 entire days off. 12 entire days off, with I guess a tiny little bit.
I'm assuming I'm going to keep it open on my phone because you're not going to reply through on there.
So they can, yes, they can, because I can see it here in the Streamlabs chat. So
cool. Okay.
If you, what are you logged in on the moment on?
My own personal one.
Okay. Well, can you just send a message and I'll see if it comes through?
Yep, just send one.
Sign into chat. Welcome to choose. What'd you say? Did you say something racist and you get kicked off? There we go. Testing.
Yep.
Love it. Yeah, came through. A little bit delayed, but not too shabby, eh? Not too shabby, man. So, okay, if I do that hides here. The other thing is I do want to have this other screen up because I want to be trying to make chapter markers as this is actually going as well.
Oh, yeah.
So that way, because I don't particularly want to go back
to go and re-edit
do that. But if I can just do that as we come to like a natural thing, and I'll just be able to do that. Apparently some people have it with stomp pedals. I heard this from
it's pretty cool.
Dudes. So they just had like a little stomp pedal, which would enable an automatic chapter for their thing. And I was like, damn, that's next level, man.
That is next level. I like that.
Very cool, very cool. All right, well, no more dicking around. Should we get into it? Here we go. That's looking good. Make sure, just speaking to the mic on your side.
Testing.
Nice. All right, here we go, man. What I get? Nope. Need to rejig that. Don't know why that didn't. There we go. Oh, yeah. Whoa. Welcome, everyone, to a Mere Mortals Musing session. You have your favorite bald-headed guy, Kyron, here on the...
Juan over here, and you can see us in all of our glory at the same time here on the one camera. We haven't done this in a little while, so you can see us for sure.
And so it'll be sounding a little bit different as well. You won't be hearing as many birds and chirping and random helicopters in the background. And that's because we're inside. We're doing something... it's long overdue, I would say, that we broadcast our liveliness, our presence to the world. So you can be interacting with us right as we speak. If you are listening or tuning into the YouTube now with Podcasting 2.0, hopefully they'll be able to have this in the actual podcasting apps at some point as well.
Are they planning on doing that?
Yeah, yep. They've been talking about it a while. It's it's coming along. It's coming along from what I can tell. So who knows how long it'll take? 6 months. It'll take a while before they finish the actual standard per se, and then it'll be a while before they fully implement. The apps have time to catch up and implement it. So
who knows how long it'd also be one of those things that even if they were to implement it like today, however many people you could actually get on there would be
zero.
You get like 3 of them or something like that if they're like around to listen to it.
Yeah. The thing is, this, I think there's a really good opportunity because I'm seeing Fountain starting to get some proper, Jack Dorsey's retweeting one of their tweets. They're starting to get some proper cred as a really good podcasting app. And so, it just depends. Like if Oscar decides, I'm going to put right on the front of the show or like right on the front page, you can listen to these podcasts live now. That could
make a difference. That's right. Yeah. Anyways, musings today.
Yeah. So the musings, the topic for today is going to be robots.
Robots.
So I picked that one. It was just kind of fun one. I don't think we'd specifically talked about robots before. I did want to do a teensy bit of housekeeping though, just before we started. And I was even thinking, we might do the value for value at the start, give that a try and experiment doing it that way.
The Boostergram Lounge, do you mean?
Yeah, the Boostergram Lounge, that is correct. So let me just go here if I can find where I wrote down, ding, 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 what I want to be doing for the future. Of course I didn't. So do you want to bring up the Boostergram Lounge that of our Discord? Those are the ones that came in.
I can do.
So you can bring those up while I'm screwing around, Kyron, of course.
Good. Okay. So I've got from what date? I've got from January the 2nd.
Yeah, that should.
So I'll go from there. So first, Peter says, "Cheers, friends." Signed, Peter the Slav, the Immortalite fan club president, which I do believe he 100% would be.
Definitely.
And that is 2,222 sats sent using Fountain. So
thank you, Peter.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Very much.
I like that he signed off in it as well. So just in case it didn't come through properly, we'd know it for sure.
No,
so
that is appreciated. I do believe I've fixed it for the most part at the moment, but very much appreciated. And yes, definitely the running Boostergram champion on all levels for us. He ticks off most Boostergrammed, like funniest Boostergrams.
Oh, for sure.
Most donated. Like he's the
top of all of it.
He's the top dog, man.
And it continues because today we've got 2 more from Peter as well. One, read the monthly goals. Fountain says I've boosted 24 different podcasts, but one in particular. 2,222 sats sent by Fountain. And then the last one by Peter. I'm with one on this one. Watching TV shows is so tiresome. 1,234 sats. Sent using Fountain.
You did actually try out my recommendation.
I did, and so specifically, I did try it out. I watched all of Arcane, all of season 1.
Oh shit!
I finished all of it. Yeah. Not that I watched one episode. I watched all of Arcane. I watched all of it.
That's hilarious.
So I watched all of it. I did enjoy it. I thought that the artistic design and the graphics were fucking awesome. I think they were really cool. The show had me definitely hooked, and it moved real quickly. But what I loved about it was you didn't have to know about the game of League of Legends and to know the background of Jinx and V and stuff like that to watch it. So that made it really good and made me annoyed that there's a next season coming out and it's post 2022. So it's like already been like planned and working on, but it's in 2023 basically that they're doing it. So I went, damn. But yeah, it was a very good show. Very good show. So thank you for the recommendation. And Peter, I still agree. It can be very tiresome unless it's really fun.
Yeah.
But I have been in semi-isolation myself, so There's nothing else you're gonna do apart
it.
from watching TV shows.
That's it. That's it. I'm risking my life here, people, with this Juan ago. This
feeling much better. But
he might have had the COVID
until Karen dies on us. All right,
here we go. So
housekeeping.
The new list of changes. So this was one of my actually monthly goals, but I didn't go into deep details about what I actually wanted to do, which was to find where I could create the time for other things in my life. And so these were the main takeaways that came. One was I think you've started to do this unprompting by me, but is doing all the book reviews in long form. So pretty much doing it without any cuts. I believe you were doing that anyway, sort of. Did you have any cuts in the latest Gary Vee book that you did?
I think like the only cuts, the cuts that I would do would be any unplanned ones, I guess. So I think I did do 2 cuts in it where I would have said something and gone, well, I didn't really like that, paused, but I never planned. I plan always to do it in one go.
Yeah, okay, yep. So I'll be doing a very similar thing unless I say something really stupid or I just go around in circles or whatnot. I'll be doing this.
Trying to go for unplanned one take.
Yep. And that'll just save me probably an hour a week of editing. So that's definitely one. I was saying the Wednesday or Thursdays, live musings, but we'll still be publishing it on Friday. So I think for the probably last...
But it will be out on YouTube early.
It will be on YouTube earlier, so it's a little incentive for people to
listen to it on YouTube.
Watch it on YouTube.
Although this particular one, and don't hit us on this one. This obviously there's a second live we've done on YouTube for a long time. So if you're listening to us on the audio and you're going, man, these guys are just talking a lot of shit for like the first 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, that's all right.
To be found, but we're going to be tidying these up. But it's basically we're going to be moving forward and doing them live on YouTube. So if you want to interact there, feel free to do so, but we'll still be publishing it out as normal, as an audio on the Fridays.
Definitely. Other than that, that's the biggest one. I guess it's just going to be switching around when the meanderings and musings are actually getting posted. So it used to be meanderings on the Friday, musings on the Sunday. Now it's going to be vice versa. Yeah. So those are those. And then, one of the good things about this is now we can do the boostergrams every week without that big time gap.
True,
so it used to be sort of between 5 to 12 days would be the lag time for your boostergram being read out on the show. Now it's going to be maximum of 7 days. So,
you hearing that, Peter?
Yeah.
You're gonna get your boostergram.
So this is
out early.
This is the place to come. I mean, technically, it could be 8 days if we do it on a Thursday.
Technically,
but we've basically agreed. Either Wednesday or Thursday, we're going to be able to do it, aiming for Wednesdays most of the time.
Yep.
So yes, that is the bit of a roundup news there, and I hope I got everything that I wanted to capture with that.
I see Peter is on the left, a little comment as well.
Peter Novakovic, live stream 123.
Peter
Novakovic.
Peter, mate. Peter.
No, I'm just saying, how do you know how to say these last names? Novakovic. I'm not good with the Russians. There's some Russians at the Calisthenic Park today.
Oh, really?
Should have talked to him. Girl was hot as fuck. My God. All right, let's get into the... We've done the boostergrams. We've done our little catch-up. So let's just... we'll treat it a bit more as normal now. I will look over to the screen, I guess, every now and then, just to see if someone's in the chat saying something. To help emphasize a point.
Yep.
But other than that, and once
we'll get into
beautiful
robots as well.
Exactly.
Also, the other thing as well, because will you be doing the chapters as well as we're going to, like, say, would you put a chapter in now or a cut to say, cool?
I pretty much did one just then.
Was that quick?
Yeah. All I have to do is press M, and
easy.
It's more like it marks it on the screen, so that I'll just have the list of them, and then I can just either. I'm not sure if I can import them or export them out of there. I've yet to find an easy way to do that.
Well, we will know. We will know after this.
All like the main thing is just I can just see a bunch of time codes, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I can just click.
That
on
does
there.
Make it easy. Yeah. That does make it. All right, robots. Why robots?
Robots. So why robots? Yeah. Honestly, the automatas that we were talking about in the meanderings. So this is
was super interesting.
Yeah. So there's going to be slightly annoying because we'll have to keep in mind now that the meanderings comes second. So Peter, if you're watching, if you're watching, we were talking about these things called the Jacques. I've got it on here, so I'll be able to pronounce it properly. The Pierre Jacques Joules automata, and that's me trying to say it in French. Yeah, you know French.
Where is it?
So it should be right there somewhere.
Pierre Jacques Dros Automata.
Jacques Dros.
Automata.
See, I'm not sure the French.
Pierre a Jacques Dros Automata.
Anyway,
we're both pronouncing it completely incorrect, I'm sure.
Anyway, these were some dolls that this guy had created. Well, actually, it was his whole family. I didn't get too deep into the details.
Okay, it was whole family who created
it. It was like him and his son and another dude, and they were, but you know. They're called the Jacques Dros Automata, and they're these amazing things from the 1768 to 1774s when they were created. These dolls, which were mechanical things that could write, they could play, they could draw, and all you would need to do was sort of flick a switch, and they would be able to do these sort of life-size drawings and things like that. Amazing stuff. And
they were really cool.
And yeah, so I just want to talk about robots. You know, it's fun things. I think we also both had watched the Elon Musk interview on Lex Friedman, so that was sort of technologically related.
A few things on robots,
so
yeah.
I didn't look up the definition. I could actually do that right now
of
a robot. Did you?
I can do that. I actually looked up the definition of artificial intelligence for some reason, rather than robots.
Yeah, because I was going to say I wanted to focus on robots, and
I think so too.
In particular, artificial intelligence ties in with them, but I wanted to focus on robots because they're kind of more interesting in that they can be used in the real world. And I always like real world applications, things moving around.
So the definition out of a random Google search says a machine resembling a human being and able to replicate certain human movements and functions automatically. Now I think that's wrong.
Okay.
Damn. I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong in the fact that does it have to resemble a human being?
Okay, yeah,
I would disagree with that. I think saying a machine resembling a human being able to replicate certain human movements and functions automatically.
Okay, that is wrong. 100%.
Yeah, I'd go no. So let me just try and find something else. Okay, any automatically operated machine that replaces human effort. Okay, maybe that might be better. I don't want to say that a robot is any automatically operated machine that can take an action that a human would, or something to that effect. It doesn't have to be like something a human would do.
Yeah. I'm not even sure it's that. I would have said it's just an ability. Yeah, it's something based off a silicon or carbon.
I was going to say, I was trying to think something like a silicon or carbon based
entity that can take an action. Yeah, that can take an action. Yeah, I'd say I'd put it that way.
Goddamn Google in the definition for robots. There was some terrible definitions there. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just... I want to pull up an interesting question based on the fact that we were just talking about there. And that is robots and friendship. Do you foresee that in your lifetime, you will ever become a friend with a robot?
Yeah, see, I had a similar one stealing from Lex was, could you fall romantically for one?
Oh, okay.
Definitely the friendship one. I wouldn't see why I wouldn't be able to be friends with one. I don't see why anything that is stopping me from having laughs. Like, I laugh at memes. I have friendships online with people I've never met before. It's already getting so abstracted out.
So do you think it's bound to happen within your lifetime? That you would become friends?
If they're good enough. The possibility, yes. With what I think a robot could do someday, 100%. Now, is that going to be in my lifetime? I don't know about that.
So let's gun to your head. It's going to be black and white, no grey here.
Okay.
Is it a yes or a no? You think within your lifetime you'll have a robot friend?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Well, look, because my answer was going to be like yes, 100% yes. I think that again. Is it going to be when I'm 40? No, but I imagine a 70-year-old, 80-year-old Juan, if he gets there, to go, yeah, I've got this friendly. Whatever, I'll probably call him C-3PO or something like that, R2-D2.
Yeah.
But I could totally.
I always hated C-3PO. I never.
No, I didn't really like C-3PO. I liked R2-D2 more, even though he had like more of a character and he didn't even speak, so like even better.
Yeah.
But I would say within this lifetime for sure. Do you think? Okay, in your step of the question, within your lifetime, do you think you could fall for a robot?
No, I said I wouldn't fall for him at all.
Oh, you wouldn't fall for him? Why?
Like I don't think it would be possible for. I think there would be something in me stopping me from being able to fall romantically for something that is completely inhuman in a way. So. Even though it could resemble humans a lot, I think they would still, and like this is notwithstanding, could I have children with them? Could I have a family? Things like that. I think it would be more around the aspect of, there'd be so many questions of like, what are they actually? Are they the sum of their interactions that they've had in their life? So did they, was this a robot that just immediately came into life? They'd have
never
to,
existed and existed.
Yeah, they'd have to have some sort of female shape.
Okay, yeah.
Because humans will fuck anything, but
yeah.
For me,
it's gotta have a female.
It's got to be female. What is it, like feminoid? You know how they say it's like android, female, whatever that term is. So they'd have to be in that. But then it would be when I'm chatting with them, did they just get uploaded before I met them? Did they just get uploaded the day before I met them? Are they constantly changing their algorithm to please me? I think that would just be. As weird as it is in that you can't understand the human mind.
Yep.
I sort of feel like that is necessary part of the ingredients as well. That's part of the fun and games. Whereas maybe I would have, you wouldn't be able to know because no one knows what the deep algorithms are doing now. In a way, it's sort of like a black box. Like how the hell did they, combine these 5 different tiny variable traits to predict with 70% accuracy that this person's going to get cancer? You don't know, so it's a black box in that sense. But I just don't think I'd be able to fall romantically for one. Friends, yes, but romantically, I think that's reserved.
Yeah, I think I fall under that line as well. But then it gets me thinking of what is the level of what we would call a robot? Does it have to be look like a human? Yes, no. So like the definition of a robot doesn't have to. Or what if the robot does look like human? Let's just say A does. But where does the line change between like the human to the robot? So I think you gave the example of if basically it didn't exist 2 days ago and all of a sudden just gets created and it does exist. Okay, that's a robot. But what if you had a human, let's evolve it to let's say 50 years from now, where you might have a human that has a chip embedded into their brain. They have 2 bionic arms because maybe they were going to lose 2 arms, bionic leg, bionic reproductive system.
Yeah.
So it's all, for all intents and purposes, they're more silicon and carbon based. Well, they're more silicon and metal based because humans are carbon based as well. Yeah. But silicon and metal based than they are.
I'm all sulfur over here.
Yeah. Do you think you'd still consider them, if you found them attractive and they were like a good match?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I could still see more than a friendship there. You wouldn't consider that too robotic?
Yeah, that's a hard one, man. Maybe it's just as long as the brain is still there. So like they could lose an arm, they get an arm replaced. They could, their kidney's failing. All right, we're going to jack up your kidney and make that good. But I would say when it starts getting to the brain part, that's where it's going to start being weird. And honestly, like that's the point that's getting close, right? With Neuralink and things like that. That's starting to get to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, they're just putting something on there at the moment, but what if it enhances your ability to think? Like you get like 5 extra IQ points in certain domains, and you can start doing pattern recognition better and things like that. I don't know, man. That's kind of weird.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if the answer here.
Juan just wants to have sex with all these sexy robots.
Yeah, well, I don't know if the answer that I'm trying to find here is one that, I'm expecting it to be different for us, or whether all humans would respond to like, oh, well, no, until you might have a generation that comes along who either gets raised with that being more the norm, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, no, that's okay. So perhaps maybe and that's why I'd sort of say in our lifetime, could we see that happening? Maybe not to us, but could we see, let's say Neuralink gets injected really well and people start using it in 50 years time, right?
Yeah.
Let's say whatever, Elon stuff works in terms of going to Mars in 5 to 10 years. And so they're over there, and all of a sudden you have a Neuralink, so it tells you about alarms or signals or something else like that. But let's just imagine then kids of that era start growing up with, oh yeah, I know Timmy who, since he was 1 year old, he was, had a chip and has like bionic legs because they're about to lose it and whatever else. And basically it's like a hybrid. And they might see that as, okay, like it happens, and okay, totally cool to start like, having relationships perhaps at that level. I could imagine those sort of generations also getting like a full-blown robot and Bill being like, okay, yeah, that's all right. Like, that's not too much more of a stretch than what is currently existing. As opposed to for us right now, and I'd be like, well, okay, that's I can't even like foresee how that might happen.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's weird when you think about it. You know, if someone gets a new liver, we don't think that's changed them at all. Really, it's just like, oh yeah, you got you know a different person's body inside of you. Whatever, that's cool. But you know, what's the difference between that and a robotic liver, for example? So, yeah, interesting things there. I was going to say with regards to the friendship one, I think I've heard people are already starting to do this especially with ones like Roombas. Have you heard people sort of treating it as a part of the family almost, and like you switch it on? And
yeah, a little bit.
You'll yell at it. It's like, hey Roomba, stop doing that stupid shit. If it's like going off and doing something weird, what do you imagine would be the first friendship you think you would create? Would it be with a humanoid one? Would it be with a dog type one?
That's a good question.
With a I'm not sure, like a drone flying type one.
Well, before I answer that, I just want to make sure I don't miss out on Peter's little suggestion that has Karen ever seen the sexy robot in Ex Machina?
Ex Machina, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I know. Yeah.
So what do you think? Thoughts?
Look, I never said that I wasn't attracted to them. You know, I could definitely see myself having sex with a sex robot. Well, no, not even a sex robot, just a sexy robot. Not even particularly
just a machine,
one.
just like a bottle making machine, like a car, like some random like car manufacturing plant cars over there, just self-satisfying.
I just see a hole and I go like, "Fuck,
it's time to go."
Yes, I could see that, but the emotional part, the falling in love part,
that's a stretch. That's a stretch.
I think that's a different thing. Yeah.
But no, I think to your point, animal of some kind. Because I think I don't know if you could really formally sort of bond the relationships with like a drone. Perhaps maybe it's supposed to be like a parrot or a bird or something.
Imagine it's a drone that just follows you around all the time, and it's your, you know, it's just a tiny like little thing on your shoulder, almost like it lands on your shoulder, and you're like telling someone about this funny meme, and it just instantly projects it.
I definitely get it.
Man.
I get it. Yeah. But I think a dog or something equivalent to that would be the nearest thing that I would consider part of what I would say like a family or a group. Or so I'm just thinking, if you had something like on the shoulder, like a drone that does that, I perhaps wouldn't be upset if it like got crushed or got blown up or I had to get a new one. It's almost like, okay, I got to get a replacement.
Yeah.
But if I had something, let's say it was a Roomba, but Roomba evolved. So imagine if there was a robot that would clean your house like a Roomba, but it would also double up and act like a dog whenever you came home as well. So it would, let's go to the full extreme. It would pull out like hair, like it was a dog. It would lick you with its metallic tongue that had like a little bit of oil on it, just to pretend like it's a dog. I think to that level, perhaps, yeah, okay, cool. I could see that there's a little bit of, connection there with an animal. Yeah. Would you say the same? Would you say something similar?
It's weird for me because I'm not the biggest dog fan or animal fan in general. I've been scarred throughout life. So yeah, that one's it's hard for me to give an opinion either way, just because I've never been friends with an. I can't say I've ever had an animal that I've been friends with.
Yep.
So I'll give the I don't know.
Here, another one, and there's gonna be breaking the whatever wall you want to call it, third wall or fourth wall. A lot of the comments, because we're getting some funny comments, you might see us sort of smiling or laughing if you're watching the video on YouTube, which then you do get to see the comments.
Yeah.
But also just as a heads up to the people listening to this on the audio, again, we're doing this as a YouTube live conversation. There's a couple of people putting comments. So if we're referring to things, that happened maybe a few minutes ago and the like, that's probably where they're coming from as well. So just to be mindful of that. And I think mindful for ourselves as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to, listen back to this one in particular and see, is it a pleasant listening experience having constant chats come in? Because I've heard so many people do it so differently. Adam Curry will keep it on the side and he'll sort of just see, someone's posted some cool information. I'll
bring it up.
Check that out. Yeah. Should we respond to everyone? Should we have like designated pause breaks and things like that. I don't know. Anyway,
It'll be cool to refer back on the audio.
definitely,
as well.
that's it's going to be topsy-turvy for a while.
Robots. Would a robot that would assist us with this commentary to maybe simplify or like conglomerate questions for us be useful? Do you think that's something you would want, or would you like the raw availability of all the information?
I wouldn't even. You're talking about just on the screen or something?
Well, like imagine, would it be helpful to have a robot of some kind or an algorithm that would summarize, like say if you had, I don't know, 1 million people watching it live and you had all these comments coming through, but they would congregate, so like all these questions and comments and be like, oh, the most, frequently asked question and summarized by this is this particular one, so you could answer.
Yeah, definitely. But that's not a robot in our definition. It's got to be something that's moving around.
True. Yeah, it's more of an algorithm, I guess.
Yeah, because I knew these things would pop up because I was like, every time I've got to be like,
no,
are we talking about a robot or are we getting into...
What's the coolest robot you have seen in person?
In person? Yeah, I was trying to think of ones like that. And I didn't come up with anything in particular, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen one do anything so astounding to me.
I haven't seen one do something outstanding. Like the ones that I can remember off the top of my mind is I was in Taiwan and we went to a bank, and this was 2017, and there was a robot attendant. So I didn't have any people at the bank that really helped you. It was just a robot that basically was like, what do you need? Blah, 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 blah. You wouldn't talk to it. You'd press something on its chest and then it would redirect you to whatever you needed. So that was pretty cool. I know that even here in Brisbane, there's a couple of restaurants that do have robot waiters.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I haven't even gone to them before.
Oh, dude, you should definitely do that.
Yeah, Marshall should actually know about this, but I think it's an Asian restaurant that does have it. And I was like, oh, because people were talking about it like even a couple of months ago. And I went, yeah, that's really cool.
Dude, we need to go to that. Hell yeah.
And I do know the Woolworths at Logan Hyperdome has two robots that basically help restock the,
what was their name?
The shelves.
It was like Duncan or... Yeah, I've seen them walking around and well, they don't restock the shelves. They go past and they scan
to see what is needed to be restocked.
And I think maybe they have a thing on the floor that cleans up as well.
And they've also got a face. Have you seen it? They've got like a face that basically smiles. I have seen a kid hanging off them.
Oh, really?
And I don't recall if they had like a sad face or something, but it would have been funny if it had like, to see that.
I should start. Yeah, man. I saw them and I was, honestly, it's like, it's a bit weird the first time you were hanging around and you're like, should I get out of its way? Should it, because like, it's just coming at you and you're wondering, and it's sort of, I think these are sort of Roomba type ones where they come up to you and if it's too close, then it'll stop. And then sort of maneuver out of the way.
But you kind of want to move out of its way first.
Yeah, but normal people, if they're coming walking at you, you're going to sort of see them coming at you and you'll either like say like, hey, watch out or whatnot. Or they will just naturally deviate away from you so it's understood that they're not going to bump into you.
Things
like that.
The more I thought about it though, I went, you know what? The most impressive robot that I know of that you see quite often now, and I would hazard a guess, like most people listening to this, and even you would struggle to even think of something else that's better, is a Tesla.
Okay.
Someone disprove me that. Someone in the comments can try to disprove me, or someone can send us a little boost or anything else. But I can't think for the life of me of something that's you see pretty regularly now that's a better robot currently than a Tesla.
Yeah, that's probably right up there in terms of
like
the utility.
And you wouldn't think about it. Like I wouldn't have. So that didn't come to my head like straight away, but kind of just thinking through it, I was like, well, I guess it's a car, and they haven't released, I think it's version 11 or whatever Elon was saying, but it's getting to the point that it's almost like you can completely let it run automated and do its own thing. For one, you can get it to turn on at specific times, or it can even do it for you depending on the weather. Like it's got all this pretty cool, what we would think, I guess, gadgetry in a car. But it's basically to a point, it's like, it's a robot. It's like doing all these things which in the past a human would do, like driving. Doesn't have to look like a human, right? Yeah. It's a car, but it's doing things which, you don't have to worry about anymore. And I went, yeah, okay, that's probably the topmost that I could imagine. Yeah. So speaking of robots like that, for one, my question was going to be, if, let's just say, fast forward 2 years from now, you've got a Tesla and you're given the ability to, so you got the 1 in 5 cars in Australia that can actually go full automatic. Like, you don't have to touch it. It can just drive on its own. Would you be happy to let the car do its own thing? Like, would you be comfortable?
From what I can tell, yes. No, yes. Yeah. I'd be willing to risk my life for that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think I'd have to play around with it first, obviously, and get comfortable with it. But if it just proved itself to be of really good quality, and if I could look at some stats that also said, hey, you're technically safer off with this thing driving than you are. Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I'd probably do it.
There was a thing that Elon was talking to Lex about, and it made me think. I don't know where I landed with it, but it was about, so again, back to safety. So obviously they're talking about cars, but I think let's just amplify this. Could talk about any robots. Elon was sort of suggesting that they had to prove that their car would be basically 2 to 3 times safer than like even a human, like any human driving, for them to be able to get the pass and be like, okay, cool, you can let that be like an on-road thing and let everyone use it. Do you think that's fair? Like, do you think it's actually, do you think it's needed for it to be, whether it's like a car on the road or extrapolate like for any robot out there? Like, random example, let's just say we create a flying, like a AI robotic plane that takes like 10 people and can do it automatically type of deal. Do you think that it's granted that it should be 2 to 3 times safer than like any human, or would you be satisfied
as in we're being too harsh, and as long as they get to human standards?
Yeah, like are we being too harsh to our robot overlords that are coming?
Yeah. Slightly, I guess, but what's the point? Would there be that much draw for how much would the draw be for AI cars if they were the exact same level of competency, I guess? So yes, they do save a lot of time, so you'd be able to be doing something more productive, like looking at memes whilst in your car. Would just that time saving aspect of it make it the biggest? Would there still be enough public demand for that if it was just the normal level, I guess, and not just the additional is that, hey, you're actually more likely to live and have a longer, better life? Yeah, I wonder. I think there would still be enough time saving stuff, particularly for the job type ones. So, it's talking about truckers going to Claremont and shit like that, where it's just the boringest ass drives that you can imagine. Like, I've done it enough times to know
that it's goddamn boring.
Yeah, it's goddamn boring and dangerous, but obviously the danger level would still be the same. Yeah, okay. I'm unsure.
Yeah, I was left somewhere in the middle. Wasn't too certain. Had another question for you.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would say that robots probably exist in most places now. So you go to the bowling alley, there's a robot there in terms of lining up the pins. Talked about Teslas. Could keep naming different things. Where do you think a sector or an area of our lives that currently doesn't have any robots that definitely needs it or should have it? Or inversely, is there an area of life that either has robots right now or might not, that should never have robots? Like, it should never ever have robots, or they should just get out of there.
Yeah, okay. I'll need to ponder that, man.
I think my one off the top of my head for the question on where would I want to see more robots, and mine's going to be in the workplace. I think in the workplace for me, personally, I'm saying it personally, I think that there would be, even now, just so many different types of roles or things that even I would do where probably a robot can go and do. Like, say for instance, I had an item at work where I had to myself go out and fly somewhere to go and show people how to use an application, and that's all fair and well, and obviously have the face-to-face interaction. However, how cool would it be if you had a robot that was, installed in different locations so you didn't have to go to it, and they could do the teaching. So just a teaching robot that could show people like, hey, this is how you use this app. Boop, you need some help, come on over and help you. Hell, you could have it connected up, live stream to someone differently, but it could just operate in that way.
Yeah.
So in those sort of instances, I could see it. But I just think robots in the broader spectrum, at the moment, we're very AI, algorithm, robotic process automation style. I'm like, man, some full-blown robots would do some good. Like, in the admin space, in, you know, just helping to print out things. You know, if I was to have a little drone robot on my shoulder, and I'm like, hey, I need to print out like 7 of these things, and you go talk to this person and get them to do that and like organize this thing, and they could be like, so it's more like operating in the real world but connecting digitally as well. I'm like, yeah, I could see lots of benefits there.
I'm thinking team sports, man. I want to see some robots in team sports. Imagine you have a small...
Well, hold on, like mixed in with humans, like hybrid?
Yeah. Okay. So imagine you've got, you know, it's a soccer team. It's, you know, Real Madrid playing Chelsea. And you've got 2, you know, semi-humanoid type ones on the field, 1 for each team. And I think it would like unlock players to be able to do some really crazy stuff. So, you know, it might make the game flow faster because it would be able to just sort of stop the ball going out needlessly in tons of locations. So it would sort of like just bounce off and given like optimal bounce to a Chelsea player or whatnot. But then also the interactions with the players where they would be able to, like, there's no fouls on the robot. So they could just like come in with like a kung fu kick to the head type thing, smash it out completely, and it just gets up and like keeps totally playing again, and things like that. I think there'd be some really cool applications.
I'll even stretch it further. I think it would be like Olympics, but for robots. Like I would watch that for sure. Like imagine it's like
people designing. You've got like designers, sort of like, you know, BattleBots. But
BattleBots, but for like sports.
Yeah,
like, you know, BattleBots is cool. Like I like watching that. I like seeing people interact and whatnot, and I thought that's really cool.
Yeah,
but I would just love to see, you know, the setup of, let's just say 10 kilometer sprint, but you know the rules are the robot has to have, you know, 2 legs will be bipedal type of deal. It can't be wheels, something like that. Yeah. But then it'll just be funny to see what people come up with. Is it, you know, someone that tries to imitate the running gait of a human, and so, but it just moves like really quickly. And then other people go down the path of, you know, 2 legs, but it might like just move horizontally at such speed that it kind of like just quickly moves forward. Yeah. I think that would be like super cool. There would be a lot of different dynamics and things that come into play with that.
Yeah, I think that would have to be set up nicely. Otherwise, you could just get some really boring, because people would probably start to hone in on what's the optimal way to do that, right? So maybe the first iterations would be fun, and then it's just them progressively getting really good, and then it's like,
I think even beyond that. So something I was looking at just like literally beforehand this, just to see like, what are the latest news in robots? And one of the things that we're talking about, which I thought had been happening for ages, but I'm guessing it's still happening, is, you know, the ability to get, you know, put a robot in here. The robot that they're talking about is basically just like an AI computerized robot, let's just say. But they basically said, here's some building blocks, here's some actuators, here's some like stiff blocks, here's some flexible blocks. And you said, let the machine run and go, you figure out how the best way it is to climb a hill or how to throw something the furthest. And they were calling it like this evolutionary gym, being like, okay, how can we make this the best robot and learn from its own experiences? So in a similar way to that, I could imagine like, yes, because I agree, you could get to a point that you just optimize it to be like the perfect machine to be able to do this, and then everyone's doing the same thing. But I would add a spicy layer, a fun layer, because, you know, you could make it so like every time you do the Olympics, you know, people know the main constraints, like, you know, it's a 10 kilometer race and it's run around this area. But you might not tell people until the day that it, like, oh, by the way, the ground's on fire, or the ground's made of oil, or something like crazy where it's oh man, well, like, didn't expect this.
What about the emotions though? You know, some of the greatest Olympic moments, you know, the Stephen Bradbury, it's not because of what he physically did, it's because of just the madness that happened beforehand, and it's sort of, you know, the he was totally out of it and then he's winning, or, you know, take the Olympic moment. And some of the best Olympic moments in sports were the ones where they didn't succeed. It's where they screwed up. So I guess you could be like, going for the chipper robot that's feet are on fire, and because they designed it in like some random ass whack way that you're just like watching this thing slowly melt as it's crawling forward. Yeah, you could maybe be like, come on.
Maybe, but I don't know. When I watch like the BattleBots, but I get like some enjoyment when I see the group that built it, or the person who's like maneuvering it, and they're emotional and they see that. So I feel like as long as you have the people there who've like built it or designed it, I think that would give you enough of a collection.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I just Just thinking of other random events
really
that you
fun
could do,
ones,
like I don't know, like fencing.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden it's like almost like supersonic type like speed of fencing, so you can't even see it. It's just like nobody can go and watch it in person because the moves are so fast. It's like breaking the barrier of sound, and everyone's like bleeding out of their ears from watching it.
Okay.
What about robots
where they shouldn't be?
Yeah,
I would just say I would just be saying for violence. So I wouldn't want to see robots being chucked in army situations to help out police officers per se. Or,
the funny thing is, I feel like that's a place where it's gonna be
definitely, man. That's you look at drones and whatnot. That's kind of already there, because I think they send the drone off and then the operators only get it for like the last instance, or they're the ones ticking off. Yes, you can now proceed. Yes, now you can now proceed. There's final checklist before they blow up. You know, like a Muslim person's wedding or something, because they want to kill some ISIS people. But I maybe I'm conflating things, and that's where I'm looking at more like the autonomous stuff. So this is, robots acting independently, which I guess ties in to what a robot is. Yeah, we're saying it's like something that does something for itself.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be like, this is true. Like a robot doesn't have to be that does it by itself. Does it on behalf of a human? Yeah, I guess could be doing it.
Yeah, imagine you, instead of police officers holding a gun with their finger in the trigger, they're just holding sort of like a selfie stick type thing, and the gun's on top of it, and it just rotates around and shoots the hell out of people.
Yeah, something like that.
I guess that's a robot. Do I want to particularly see it being used that way? Probably not. Maybe if it makes the world safer, so the police officer doesn't. He actually shoots the bad guy instead of missing, and it bouncing off something and reflecting and killing someone else, a bystander.
I don't know. The principle there for me is like, if you're making it easier, let's say you're making it easy to harm somebody else, whether for the right reason or the wrong reason, and like removing those layers of like, maybe as a human you don't want to do that, and you just kind of delegate all of that to a robot, and it makes it so much easier to cause havoc if you're doing it for a bad reason, or if you're doing it for a lawful reason. Okay, well, it makes that easier. But I think overall, I don't think it's a net positive having robots there. I think it might be, especially when you fall in the wrong hands. Like, all right, you've like now taken it completely negative.
Yeah, maybe if sort of non-harmful robots, so they can help out in police situations, but they've got more of a stun gun thing. So they can accurately shoot a stun gun right into some, like the exposed fleshy part of the skin or something, rather than it getting tangled up in clothes and shit like that.
Yeah.
So maybe if like the general principle is it helps incapacitate someone either momentarily or for a small duration, rather than
mortally kill them, mortally
blunt
wound them.
Force death type things, or unrepairable sort of things. Maybe that would be my suggestion.
More thing. Yep.
Okay, I've got one for you. What is the best robot you've seen in pop culture? So from
pop culture.
So it can be from movies, music, TV shows, on advertising, fantasy books, anywhere that you've heard of a robot, even real life. I guess you could add those in. But have you ever? What do you think would be the best one? I can go with my choice.
Go with yours. I'll just be thinking through.
So this is kind of a hard one, because I'm like, would I actually like this if it was in real life? Probably not. And it's Bender from Futurama. I really liked that character. He was an amazingly funny dude.
Yeah.
Just wild. Like he would be I think he was the reason I watched Futurama. If he wasn't in it,
would have reduced the quality of the show. Yeah, I think so.
Definitely. So he's probably been my favorite robot character that I can think of. We missed a lot of the 90s ones, I guess, which would be, I'm sort of thinking of, wasn't there like a bunch of TV shows where they would have like a robot in the house, or like the Jetsons type ones? I don't know. I feel like I sort of missed out on a sci-fi type of level of
of like robots.
Maybe people would say flying cars from Back to the Future. That that type of, it doesn't have to be sentient. That's just one that a lot of people seem to have been like, where's my goddamn hoverboard? Where's my flying car?
Yeah,
and we still haven't cracked that nut. However many years it's been since those came out. So yeah, I'm putting Bender as my rough pick for the moment.
Okay. The only thing I was going to say was, because I was just thinking in my mind, I'm like, is Master Chief a robot or a human?
Is he?
He is a human.
Oh,
He's
okay.
a human.
Yeah.
I just Googled that just to make sure. I was going to be like, that was going to be the one. I'll be like, if that's a robot, goddamn, that's the robot I'd pick.
Yeah, I didn't get into the Halo game, so I'm kind of ignorant on that part.
Yeah. I mean, for probably a lack of knowing many others, I'd probably say R2-D2.
Yeah, I was going to...
Just for the fact of, I think it'd be like a cool one to have and be friendly. Yeah. But I think that would just be a cool one. Like, it'd be cool to have in person. Feel like it would help you out.
Yeah.
I'd D2.
Okay, cool. What about Uncanny Valley? So you've heard of this term before, I'm imagining on Sam Harris's, but for those who haven't heard it, it's basically a way to describe this weird point where robots become more and more humanoid, and they get to the point where they're sort of indistinguishable in many ways. So you see this robot from 5 meters away, and you're like, that's a human. But then you get closer and maybe you see it starting to move and interact, and you're like, oh, what's going on there? Well, like, it's blinking.
There's our current when he sees a toaster.
Oh, damn. Like, yeah. Like, oh, shit. Sorry. I confused you.
Didn't realize.
I confused you for Jessica Alba. I was going to do some naughty things there.
Just my holes.
But it's that it's saying there's a point where it's kind of cute and friendly and funny. You've got like robot dogs. You've got Asimo, the helper robot from Japan. I believe that's what his name was, Asimo. He was sort of like, white.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I don't know if that was his name.
Really basic face. I'll look it up in a sec. But then it gets into the point where it's too human-like, and you're like, this is kind of freaking me out. This is making me uncomfortable. And then I guess, Asthma. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then it gets to the point where it's like, no, I don't like this because it's sort of confusing me. Similar to how I was listening to someone had a deep fake of Adam Curry's voice, and I was listening to it, and I went, this is kind of bad in a way because I can't tell. It's
you could fall prey to the actual deep fake at some point.
Yeah. It was too. Maybe if I'd listened long enough, I could have been. Yeah, that doesn't sound like an Adam Curry thing to say, but it would take me too long, I think, for that. Yeah. What do you think about the Uncanny Valley? Have you what do you see humanoid robots? So let's say like a sex robot. Do you see that being sort of stagnating in development because it gets too close, like gets real close to being a human female, and then is just kind of weird, and then there's a decade of it nothing, and then it's just like, bam, we've got it. This is the perfect thing.
I get it. I'm just picturing through like different scenarios. I think that there would come a real big point where the Uncanny Valley, let's say, whether it's a sex robot or it's a
let's just say it's a robot dog, and it behaves
like
so
I say,
close to a dog.
It looks like a dog. You could make it like look really close to a dog, but perhaps it walks with its legs slightly pointed a different way, and you start going like, "Oh, this is a bit weird."
Yeah.
I think that yes, it would cause troubles, and I think it would put not a halt, but it definitely slow down the adoption, and that's why it kind of makes me think that is it gonna be more likely that we're gonna have robots that are exactly like human features or look like humans? I think we're probably gonna deviate away from that, as opposed to just having robots that can do a lot of things for us that don't necessarily have to look like us in particular. So we move away from this Uncanny Valley style of problem to, okay, like there's a robot that looks a little bit like, so like that Nismo sort of, Nismo, what was the name?
Asimo.
Asimo. Asmo. So like it kind of has human characteristics in the fact it's got 2 arms and 2 legs and it looks like an astronaut basically. Yeah. But you don't really tell that it's like human. You can kind of picture and be like, oh no, I can tell that's kind of a robot. So perhaps we're probably going to run into that Uncanny Valley issue where we try and create robots that look a lot like humans, and then we're going to have potentially stoppages in adoption because, you know, maybe you have them at home and they're supposed to be used as butlers or something, but you're like, oh, it's a bit weird. Like, I don't like how it like looks at me or how it serves food. And maybe, you know, manufacturers and the like might move towards a look and feel that's moves us away from the Uncanny Valley style. So we don't have to be worried about it. The only thing that's running through our mind is perhaps we also at the same time, you know, get augmented reality or virtual reality to such a point that, you know, the robot doesn't even have to look like anything. And then we've got augmented reality style setup that it's like, now it just looks exactly like however you want it to be. And you can completely be in the knowledge, be like, oh yeah, cool, I can make it look exactly like human. And now there's no issues.
There's plenty of things that could just go by the wayside because it's just not needed. You know, it's just, we've found something better over here. This is more interesting. It gives us all the same things that we say we wanted in real life, but man, that's fucking hard to create. Let's just go into our virtual worlds and we can, you know, write the code there, sort of
do everything there,
so we can disobey the laws of gravity and whatnot in these virtual worlds. But
yeah, I mean, to your question specifically about the Uncanny Valley, I think it could definitely pose. In fact, I'm sure it'll pose a problem at some point in some of the robot adoption and uptake and building and whatnot. Just like I could see myself personally not utilizing or interacting a robot because it's got that Uncanny Valley feel to it. Like perhaps if you try to sell me a dog, and it's like, hey, here's a dachshund, like a real dachshund, but you could have a robot dachshund that looks exactly the same for 1/10 of the price, and you don't have to feed it, all those sort of things. But it just moves slightly weird, and when it sleeps, it might be like sleeps, you know, eyes open or something random. I'd be like, no, I don't want that because it's like missing the essence of what I actually want. But perhaps if you don't go down the path of, oh, it's not a complete exact, you know, copy, replicate, replacement. It's it's something different. Like it is a robot, and you can call it like, you know, robot dachshund, and then it's got different properties, and then you fall in love with it and whatever else. Okay, that might be the path to go. Except, in fact, I'm saying that's the way to go, folks. If there's anyone listening to this who manufactures robots, or you're listening to this podcast in 2052, this is what you should be doing.
Nice.
Make them not look exactly like the animal or the human. Slightly different.
Okay. Well, you just brought up one thing, which was my last one, which was some predictions. I like doing these predictions because we're so bad at them. Like our COVID.
Well, if you look back at COVID,
our COVID one was woeful.
What did we say? Like a million case, something like that.
I thought we were guessing in the hundreds of thousands, or one of us was at least.
I think I said something like 900,000. Yeah. I know I said something sub 1 million. Anyways, we were off by a factor of a lot, 100 more.
But so one of the things that has bugged me was I've had some disappointments in my life just from things I thought were promised or predicted. Two that spring to mind for me was carbon nanotubes for space elevators. I remember hearing this about that a long time ago. And they were saying, this is sort of in the horizon. I've never heard anything of that since. I
wonder if it's people who just realize and being like, it's stupid. Who the hell is going to take an elevator all the way to space and back down? Sure, you could like take a view, but I don't know. I think people sometimes realize it'd be like.
Well, I heard these things. You know, they'd be able to connect you to the moon type level of stuff. That's what I was hearing. Okay. Like, there's what they'd be used for. This is how we're going to be able to go to, you know, these different other planets and spend a vacation on the moon. So that was one of them, and the other one was just nanotechnology in general. So this is, you know, tiny little robots being able to go in and just eliminate your cancer down to the very last cell, of you taking a tablet and them cleansing out your system, of you, you know, just sort of having them in the air around you, and you're, I don't know, there's a bad smell or something, and you're like, oh, can you just get rid of that smell or something? And they will just, latch onto individual particles or molecules and whisk them away or some shit like that. Yeah,
hasn't happened now.
Haven't seen much on that point. So, what about some predictions? All right, we'll start with one. When do you think you will have buy your first sort of autonomous robot for your day-to-day life, or like, you know, it'll be in the house, it'll be the thing perching on your shoulder. I think for me, I can imagine a drone type one that me buying something like that before I'm 40. So I'll say in the next 10 years.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to say 2038.
2038.
2038. Okay. So that's what? 16 years.
16
years from now. I'd say I would imagine in 2038 I'd be purchasing my first autonomous robot, which I'm going to call it. I'm going to say right now.
So that's not even thinking about like the Tesla type level. You don't think you'll have a car?
No, I'm thinking beyond that. I'm thinking beyond. Like, I'm not thinking a Tesla. So I'm thinking beyond a Tesla type of robotics, I guess, if you thinking, because I'm thinking in my mind, 2038 is when I would purchase a robot that would be the equivalent of like a house carer. Yeah. So I would like mow,
or even a house that is sort of a robot. You know, it's just instead of
or it could be like a fully
it you know, sucks up. It's got like a vacuum hose that just comes out.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. Yep. So I'd say 16 years. 16 years.
Okay. Okay. Will there be a robot war with humans? Are we gonna have Terminator level animosity between?
I'm gonna say no. No, but they will be included in war.
Yeah. Okay. I think there'll be individual acts of
robotic atrocity.
Of robotic atrocities on both sides. Humans doing something really bad. Plenty of humans treating robots really badly, and then also, you know, the lone robot now and then either just having a glitch or doing something, and it'll just murder. It'll like just mow down a bunch of people. It'll be a car or something. It's just like fuck this.
But I think all out war, I don't envision this like human versus robot death match.
Yeah, we'd just get our asses kicked. Like, let's be honest.
We either get our asses kicked, or, you know, if we're building machinery or things that, you know, have the potential to kill, some sort of fallback switch or something to be able to disable them, or some other form of way to be like, oh, okay, we can stop this now.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But
have you seen the new Matrix? What's going on?
No, I haven't seen the new Matrix.
I've only heard like meh things about it. So.
Why would the new Matrix have anything robotic wise?
I don't even know the plot line of it. I just remember.
Have you ever watched? Okay, but you watched Matrix though.
Yeah, there's lots of robots.
Okay, is it?
Fucking have you watched it, man?
In Matrix.
So there's.
Would you consider them? Would you consider them to be robots?
There's the Matrix in the Matrix realm. So this is the Agent Smith type thing. Yep. But when they go out of it and they're in that bloody underground cave and shit,
those big, huge things.
There's and you know, when he's fighting on the surface, there's that one point where he comes down. There's like the sort of eye type thing in front of him, and he speaks with it, and the eye's like, "You need to help us, Agent Smith's taking over."
True.
So
I guess I never thought about them like robots.
Yeah, no,
I don't know what I would have thought.
They're definitely robots.
There you go. Okay,
definitely. All right. I think that's a good place to end our robot discussions. It's weird like not having boostergrams
next week
or something
at the beginning
to do. So
well, little thoughts here. So if you have listened to this fully in the audio version, obviously not on the YouTube video live version, I'd appreciate it so much if you could send through a comment in any way you could, whether a boostergram, whether a comment, you know, directly on one of the Instagram posts for this, whether it's on the YouTube page itself, just because we want to kind of get to know what was the experience for you from an audio perspective. Obviously, this was a video YouTube specific, just to see what it was like. But still, we are Valley for Value enabled as well. Yes. So we did have a couple of our Valley for Value patrons come. So we had Peter, the king of the mere mortal tippers, if you will, the president of the team. Obviously join us for a little while, but at the same time, we are Valley for Value enabled and open for all other mere mortalites to come along and help boost or connect with us as well.
So if you want to see sort of what that is like, just I would actually just recommend, here's a new recommendation.
Okay.
Go into my Twitter, so at Kyron Down, and I've just been interacting with people a lot on there in the Value for Value world. So giving shout outs to people who sort of do it like we do in a way, who, you know, Fountain FM, the Oscar Mary's on there. And so you just see like a different side to things, I guess, there. So if you're wondering, oh, how can I do this?
Maybe go through that.
If you go through that, you'll see some examples of people doing it.
Or,
and whatnot.
Just go to Jack Dorsey's Twitter page and just look at one of the latest tweets that he did on Fountain.
It was actually easy to get to because it was sort of, I think, his 1 or 2 tweets just before the new year. So if you go to 2021, the last couple of days of December.
Just Jack Dorsey tweeting about us. That's
us.
basically what it is. So what we're saying here is, folks, Jack Dorsey is one of the Immortalites. That's basically what we're saying. You better believe that in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to receive a sat like a boostergram. It'll be like Jack Lightning, and it'll be like 2.3 Bitcoin sent by Jack.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to see.
And then I'll be like, damn. All right, anything else?
I'd waste them. Honestly, man, I'd waste them all anyway. I'd just start boosting people silly amounts back. I'd be like, here's 200,000, and it racks up pretty quick when you're starting to do. Do some big boosts that it goes away
for sure.
Awesome. All right, I think that's a fantastic place to end it. Thank you everyone for joining on the live stream, for joining the regular audio on your podcasting app. More to come in the future. And Juan, kick us off.
Immortalites, that's it. Juan out.
Karen out.
Ooh, yeah. Go.